Greetings. It is GleeCon, and I'm here again with another episode of Lore of Warcraft. Thank you for joining me. It's a little bit of a dark and gloomy day here as I prep to talk about some art with you guys. And then after that, I'll be running an off-camera dungeon and going to the dentist. On the last episode, we started prepping for Scarlet Monastery. I realized that the actual main quest, which is pretty much the only real quest for both factions that takes you through Scarlet Monastery, it's the only one that it's the predominant quest, the boss kill quest, the obligatory one. I guess you have to be higher level to pick those up for Alliance and Horde. 33, I think, for Horde, 34 for the Alliance. So my characters aren't there yet. So that means we're going to be doing the first two wings of the dungeon without the quest. The first wing doesn't have a boss, but it is what it is. We also, there is a mage quest for the dungeon, so I did go pick that up with my mage, which is what made an episode that might have been short turn into a mega episode. So we've also been reading the art books. We read The Art of Warcraft, which talked about Warcraft 1, 2, and 3, and their expansions to some degree. The Art of World of Warcraft, which is classic art. And now we've been doing The Art of the Burning Crusade. And there's been some good things. I think I like it better than The Art of World of Warcraft because that was rehashed, but not as much as The Art of Warcraft because there's little to no text. But it is still a visually impressive journey. So stay a while and listen as we finish this journey in the Burning Crusade together. I'm going to do monsters here to start with, and I guess Illidan himself is, they're using him as a symbol for a monster. That's a little bit harsh, especially since that whole class will eventually be playable. All right, so you have the Arakoa, the Kenku. I'm guessing, or that maybe is Kenku. I can't remember if Kenku is a type or a name. That's a cool picture of them. Arcane Golems, I think you fight those like maybe in the Nexus kind of area, maybe a few other areas. Maybe there are some in Silvermoon. The Broken, which are that's a playable potentially playable race that could be out there. Here's another more Arcane Golem spin-offs that they don't really look like that, but there's some cool concepts. Flesh Beasts, they exist and they look basically exactly like that. A Draenei Pack Animal, and that's kind of what their mounts look like. Although that actually looks a little cooler than the mount. The Dragonhawk, which are sort of the mounts for both NPCs and the Blood Elves, and you can fight them as mobs. Here's the whatever you call those guys. They have their name. No, they are a faction. They're like merchants, ethereals. Well, again, I mean you do fight them, but I wouldn't necessarily consider them a monster. There's a Fell Orc, so that's a neat side picture, and a Fell Reaver. That's the big giant things you get in Hellfire Peninsula. Here's an Armored Wyvern, I guess maybe because this would be a flying mount that you could get with tail plates on them, and an Armored Griffin, although that's like they took a Griffin in-game and then they like painted its armor on top, whereas this is like all in-game construction. Weird. And then here you have the in-game construction, and then the Griffin without the armor. So I guess maybe like a regular flying and fast flying. Actually, yeah, I think that's how it goes. Forest trolls as seen as monsters. I'm trying to think where you fight trolls. Do you fight them up in Silvermoon? I kind of think maybe you do, or at least in the Ghostlands. So that might be why there's more trolls that you fight. It's a good picture, though. Fungal giants out from Zangarmarsh. And beyond, I think they kind of have used that skin since then. There's a Gnarg. That's like the little demon helper guys. And this Gnarg has like a mega fell claw. It's pretty cool, actually. The Gron, which there's a rich history with the Gron and their relationship to the Draenor itself, which is technically where we're at. And in Warlords of Draenor, you encounter them a lot. And I like how they took like this sketch, and then it's just kind of painted some swatches and tattoos and stuff on them. Yeah, there's good old Illidan. I mean, he is dope. So he's got the side a one wing shot. I guess so you could see his hand, or does he only have one wing? I don't remember him. I don't think so. This is a one wing shot for both. It's pretty cool. And then a paint almost. That's more like a cinematic from Warcraft 3 or something. I don't know. That is a dope picture of Illidan. I've seen that before. That's like, poster quality picture right there. It's pretty cool. Here are the Moargs, the bigger things like the Ganargs, and I don't know what this little thing is, maybe like a nether drake. Moargs are cool with their claws and their fell and everything coming off of them. Yeah, nether dragons. And this is an overhead view of something. It's almost like Chinese dragonish. Maybe that's like a mana worm or something. Yeah, it's a pretty cool picture though. There's an ogre lord. I mean, I always thought those were just like big mega grons. I didn't know they were a special kind of ogre. I don't think they are. I don't even remember seeing one. There's a pit lord. That's basically Manaroth. And maybe I think you fight a couple other ones, like especially some elites in the Shadow Moon Valley. An Outland Abyssal. They look extra cool. A Gluth or Gluth. It's like a zombie dog or like a fell dog. Pretty gross. I think you fight things like that. I'm thinking Shadow Moon Valley and the some of the like fell areas of the Blades Edge Mountain Ogre area where they're all smart and you have to grind the crystals for days. Cleft Hoof, so this is like the Kodo, but the Outland version, shaggier. A Rockman, okay. Robits. We've got some Robits. That's cool. I don't remember seeing any of those. So that's concept art or discarded. Rock Flares, you do get those, and they have their 4 arms and clawed feet with the Ravagers, which are almost like little baby rock players. I don't know. They always appear near each other. A Shivan, those are cool. I think that they appear. I think they appear in Classic because the reason that makes me think that is in the World of Warcraft board game, you get Shivan pieces, but you know what? They did add some with the Burning Crusade expansion, and that might be just part of the expansion. They do look cool though, with their Shiva-like 6 arms. A Blood Elf Cockatrice mount. I didn't know that those were called Cockatrice. You see the knights, especially walking around on those. I did not ever realize they were Cockatrice. And there's a crow, and here's something. Oh, a basilisk. That's the face of a basilisk. I mean, basilisks have existed in WoW for a while. A spore bat. Yep, those fly through Zangarmarsh. And I think you can also see them in the Twisting Nether or whatever it's called. The Nether. The Area 52. The Nether Storm. There's a Sporeling from Sporegar. And these... Man, I have nightmares about these giant things because... when I was doing one of the achievements to get all of the rares in Outland, it's one of the longest, most grindiest achievements that I've done. Waiting for the rare one of these guys to spawn. Oh my gosh. It like made me quit being an achievement hunter for months and then come back, and it took so long. Just leaving my computer on, setting alerts up, like it was just... All right. Silithid Wasp. It says BOS. I don't know what that's cutting off, but maybe these are just like heads or helmets. Yeah, it doesn't really. Boss, maybe. There's a Void Caller, which I like those, like the Super Void. Somebody, I was talking in the guild, there's a big toad. Silithid Tank Boss. Oh, I see. So this is, I guess, a Wasp Boss and a Tank Boss. I don't know why they're called that. But I was talking about the age-old playable characters. What would be cool playable characters? And somebody was like, I want to be a Void Walker. I mean, I guess that would be neat. The Elec, which is the Draenei pack thing, and this is how they actually look when you get them as mounts. So I guess maybe that's more like what you would see with NPCs. Fungal Monster. I don't know about that. Who knows what this thing is? An imp. So these are obviously unused concepts. I do not know what this weird hawk, almost Ankaraji kind of thing. The Warp Stalkers, they do use those. Little invisible basilisk type guys. A Wrath Guard. Those are cool. They are in the game. Very similar to a Fel Guard. Raptors, but these are like Outland versions of Raptors, and they're big. Sand Reavers, maybe. Mantax are not used, but you can see they come back to that idea in Nissa Pandaria. Nether Drakes. No. All right, so yeah, they finish up with some concept stuff. All right, here's weapons and armor. Some different cool weapons and armor in the game with a 2-page of a sword. Just different hilts where they're floating, they're crystally, so Draenei type. Maybe some Magharish or Felt orc weapons. A couple cool swords and hammers. Again, a sort of a Draenei type dual-handed sword or even single-handed sword. More Draenei themed staves. Glives or bows. Those could be either. These are bows right here for sure. Those could be either, but probably bows. Yeah, this art is made in 2005. You can see the dates on it here. So before this is what they're this is all concept stuff before it actually drops. I guess this is almost to scale or showing a kit. Like the sword is as big as the bow. Okay, it says these two weapons look like they've come from different games. So they are criticizing. The details are too small. Pattern is reversed. So I guess they come out for this. Here we go. Larger details and inverted the yellow to the white. And then here's how it shaped up to be in the game. And now it looks like they're in the same game. Thicker and chunkier spikes and handle for both. Here you have some different concept for swords. So someone's given them notes, or the person gave themselves notes. Again, I like this where you can see the concept and then how it becomes in game. And it does look, you can see how you get this Warcraft look about it. And even that has evolved over time, which is what you would expect. That's cool. And I don't think it's a coincidence that like the first words we're seeing are the most interesting things. It helps us with thoughts. I don't know what that little weird thing is. A hilt, a rod, an offhand item. There's some dagger, crossbows, daggers, hammers, different pole arms, swords. That's a blood elf looking sword. Maybe these are supposed to be shields. They're pretty cool. This is a really cool one. Top right. More staves again with the crystal and floating motif. So that was definitely something that they strove for. That is awesome. Imagine if you had a weapon that actually looked like that. It's like a literal dragon's head just stuck on the end of a hilt. That's really cool. And then you have a couple hammers, how they look in game. This is almost like a gnomish hammer with all the machinery on it, and then you have this spider one. But it also has like feathers, but maybe that's like a Taraji type or Nerubian. I love these hammers. Maybe they do exist. That's cool. A gun that's like clawed. That's almost like a shotgun. And then you have a series of weapons there. Couple cool glowing swords. Those almost look more blood elfish to me. That's like a spear, a couple pole arms in there. That's a nice axe. That feels more Draenei-ish to me. And again, more pole arms, more guns. So we're looking at hunter kits here. That's a cool axe. And actually, that does look like some of the axes you can get in the game. The other half of this pole arm staff that you have, and I like that swirling crystal thing. More concepts for staffs. Some look fell and evil and big. Here's more different types of shields and swords. But, I mean, imagine that being your job, too. That'd be cool. You're just drawing. There's the rest of this big sword. You just get to draw and come up with ideas for cool weapons all the time. That's cool. Here's probably like a tier set planned with all the armor. Not too shabby. I like it. This is called White Tiger. Is how they originally draw it, which I love. And it's almost got this Shogun-y Power Ranger, Green Ranger, White Ranger kind of thing going on to it. But then it becomes just white glowing the shoulder pads. So they definitely nerf the look a lot, probably out of necessity. That's cool. It's a Warlock set that looks fully like armored up with a dragon head, but that's cool. And here is what it actually ends up coming, or I guess not really, more concept art. It's almost like a gas mask on him. It says it's a two-piece split. You've got those different helmets, and I wonder if we see some like that. This looks more like what you'd see in game. So the shoulder pads are under some iterations here, and so is the chest with the different kind of color accents and stuff, but those are cool. Now this I feel like is, I've seen that basic helmet before. This blade helmet, that's a set. Another Warlock Burning Crusade concept. I love these helmets. Here's more silhouettes of these big weapons and potential sets. This is a cool just picture. It looks like from in-game, where the person is half in and half out of the rest of the armor, or he's got two sets. I don't know, the helmet looks a little faded on one side too. I want to see more of that, like, yeah, like these, how it looks in-game. So here you have the Wind God set. I don't really see anything quite like it. And here, I guess maybe these concepts go there, but they loved these big animal shoulder pads in the drawings, and they're not making it in the chains. This is more of a fiery kind of set. Here is a demonic, almost like something out of Diablo or something with the shoulder pads, but it looks like that's in-game stuff. That's neat, where it's got like smoke in the background. You got one gold pauldron, the rest is kind of gray, and maybe that's just they're starting to put texture packs on it. Here's a curled horn motif. I wish these all had like explanations with them, like what class are these? Were they kept in game? Was there a natural progression? I wish this wasn't just like just throwing a bunch of pictures at a wall and just letting you look at it. I wish they were organized with a certain and contextualized. I like just somebody is obviously heavily influenced by older manga and anime, anime, not manga, and samurai, and which is what I grew up with. This is a demon stalker. That would be a super cool class, kind of like the demon hunter, but I guess we can never go there. But maybe something else needs stalking, and we can get that kind of class. I guess you don't want to take too much from the rogue and too much from the hunter and too much from the demon hunter, but I just feel like there's got to be like some ninja samurai. Yeah, something that could be, a tank as a samurai and a ninja as a... That would be so cool. Wasted opportunity. I mean, they gave us monk already. Here are some other, I don't know, clothy sets. I feel like I've seen this sort of a shoulder piece before, but not with the crystal face on the front and holy shield. But again, I don't have all these old PvP sets and stuff like that. Paladin Crystal Forge, the big holy blade, floating crystal symbol. Oh, I see, on the one shoulder pad. That would be cool if it could be that detailed. And this is maybe closer to what it will actually look like in game. This is the set right here. That is a real in-game helmet. That looks dope. I've seen. So that's closer to what actually comes out. These Librams on the shoulders. This is maybe an in-game set. Maybe Shaman or something, because it's got these horns and feathers. All right, so we're looking at the cinematic. Maybe, I don't know if these are going to be storyboards. We'll see. This is a weird picture of Illidan. 2-pager. Okay, Draenei Paladin, because that is from the Burning Crusade cinematics. Some books, some weapons. There isn't that CGI, non-textured rendering with little notes, but I hate that even if we wanted to read it, they've made the little notes like illegible. It's hard to really see. But it's kind of cool. And now here's the storyboarding. And I don't know if these are painted or rendered as screenshots. There's someone being turned into a sheep, and they're just showing different sceneries. Here's the blood elf side of things. I guess they're going to put a mage in here. They show her. They do, because they show her with her mana worm from the movie. Somebody freaking out again. A blood elf priestess. Why is it a priestess? I just assumed it was a mage. Then they same kind of thing. Texture pack less. Here is her gear with textures only. Here we have sort of an orc, but maybe it's a fell orc. He's got this hammer. You got some trees. You got a forsaken warlocky kind of looking dude with a helmet. You see the actual dark portal, so I guess that would be part of it, because they're going to bust through the dark portal. You see a troll on a raptor without textures. That's pretty cool. I think it's neat that they render this. I wonder how that's all created. Like, how do you even get this part? How do you create? Are you sculpting, basically? Because that's how you would think with the 3D art. It would almost have to be like you're carving that out. And then once you carve and save it, then maybe you can articulate it, create points of articulation and stuff like that. I would imagine. Kind of hard. That's a Murloc. There's Illidan, although he looks terrible in this cinematic. Where's all his hair? And there's pictures of him in the back, concept art. There he is with the weird curved wings. He looks almost like a vampire. Demon hunters have something in their eyes so that they are not distracted by vision of the real world, allowing them to see demon enemy. Yeah, there's this horn's like cut off. Ancient occlusion. Oh, ambient occlusion page. And the last thing we're going to get is some pictures from the trading card game as they try to promote that. There's a little gnome. Yeah, it says it's used with permission from Upper Deck, but it's a shame you get all this beautiful art and then we get to the trading card and they're just like, it's okay. There's a Hearthstone picture. Some kind of warlock. I mean, people had to make these. These are cooler. Forsaken, couple Forsaken. There we have a Tauren. I don't know what that is. Maybe an Orc Shaman. That's a Forsaken Rogue, and I don't know. That also looks like a Forsaken Rogue, but it could be a Warrior. That could be Sylvanas, could be Forsaken, could be a Rogue. Could be it's a Hunter, but most likely with a bow. Could be an orc. Here we have this dwarf. And it's like he's shocking these skeletons off his back. Arcane Intellect probably has a card. There's another Tauren, maybe a human, a gnome casting a spell at this fungus thing. There's a big ogre and blood's coming out of him as he's punched in the side by a warrior. Yeah, unfortunately, the art on these cards is kind of cartoony. I mean, Samwise, no offense, buddy. This is actually probably one of the better ones, but this is a Tauren shaman with his elemental lightning balls around him and also throwing a lightning bolt down. Here is some dwarven. He's draining them. Maybe he's a priest. There you have a dwarf, an orcish rogue poisoning his blades. I feel like I played that game some when I was younger. All right, so fingers crossed that with the advent of Wrath of the Lich King, we will get something cooler. That's my hope for the next one, because we still have quite a lot of journey ahead, and I much prefer to read than just blather on my thoughts about these pictures. But at least if you don't like my voice, you can always just mute me and look at the pictures too. All right, so we got another episode in the pipe, 5x5, and I'll see y'all next time on Lore of Warcraft.